This is how to tell if your olive oil is fake.
You've been using olive oil wrong your whole life, and it's costing your health.
My grandkids have been telling me I'm aging in reverse. This is my secret.
Number 3, canola oil. If you can find organic canola oil, then it's actually a very good oil. The problem with canola oil is most canola oil in the United States is genetically modified.
Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning, live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out, International Diamond Center. And our good friends at Comfort Temp Heating and Air is your number one local HVAC company. Comfort is their business, peace of mind is their promise. Today's program, we'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show, and then we'll have Win with JC in the second portion of today's program. Let's go to the Titan & More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by the host of the Buddy Martin Show, also the main man at Gator Bait Media, Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning to you there, Shane. I'm going to start off the day with Bring Back Gator Bait. That's my campaign. I'm going to go up front and say it right now, and thanks for all your help with that area. And listen, these are the good times, man. It's good stuff happening, and certainly in football and basketball. And hey, Shane, the latest stat I heard, which doesn't really hit you till you think about it, first time in program history, although I have a hard time believing this, Gators have 6 guys averaging in double figures. That's pretty impressive. That makes them really hard to beat.
Yeah, it's playing really good basketball right now, clicking on all cylinders, and just an elite defensive team. That's what's making them go right now. So,
I agree.
Play tonight, 7 o'clock in the O'Connell Center against a not so good South Carolina team. Should handle them fairly easily, I believe. So, Buddy, on the Gator Bait, what are you going to do? Are you going to go hold up signs at the Oaks Mall right there at Newberry Road, picket? What are you going to do to bring this thing back?
Everything is possible, and and thank you for all the people last night on my show who were in support of that. I want to see the whole thing brought back, including the cheer, because I'm an old man. I go back a long way, and I remember as a young man going to the games and hearing that cheer at chant when the team came on the field. And actually, John Summerall said he remembered it, talked about it in his first press conference. Gator Bait has been given a bad name. I own the company now. It's been about 48 or 49 years old. I forget exactly what. But the bottom line is the cheer is very much a part of the culture of Florida sports, especially football. And, all the things that go with that are supposed to be politically correct. I'm sorry. I've lived a long time. I've known people before that who've died and gone on. Never have we ever heard any of that stuff. So, yeah, we'd like to, hey, I'll hold up a sign. Shane, I'll come out with you on the University of the 13th and stand there. We'll hold up our Gator Bait signs, and we'll get our Gator Bait gear from you. And you see, I wear mine every day. So it's something we can be proud of, and it's something, the reason why we can celebrate it. I'm hoping with the new administration and all the new thinking, they'll go back and look at it. It's not for me. It's not even for my company. It's for the tradition of Gator Bait. As Lawrence Wright said, if you ain't a Gator, you ain't Gator Bait. You're a Gator Bait. So it's part of what we do.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to see that brought back as well. I think the band started playing their little He'll probably 95, 96, or 97, somewhere around there. So would love to see it back. No question about that. Question here from Lee on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, can you tell us your honest opinion of what you think we have with the 26 team and staff? I'm assuming football. My honest opinion is we will be a much better football team next year. I think we're going to be very, very good on offense. I stick more to the offensive side of the ball because that's all I care about for the most part. I think we have dynamic wide receivers. I think Eric Singleton will be the best player on offense outside of Jaden Ball. And I think our quarterbacks are going to have a nice battle in the spring. Both of them throw the ball exceptionally well. They're fundamentally sound. They're everything you need in a quarterback. And then defensively, I think we're going to be a lot better as well. So I'm excited. It's easy to be excited at this point. I think you can only go up. But I think we will have a very good football team next year. Your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, we talked about that last night, and I sort of check myself so I don't get too involved. And like I say, I don't like to fall in love on the first date, but there's so many signs that point to it. And I thought about this last night. When you buy a stock, let's say you put your money in IBM, whatever, and you do it for retirement one day, you don't want to touch it, but you're going to follow the progress. And progress to us comes in small bites. We've been down a while here, and it's hard for us to appreciate prosperity. Yeah, this team now in small inches, and things we heard Franz Beard's story last night about meeting and talking with John Summerall and how people are reacting to him, showing up at the game, showing up at the right places. Even the HBC let it out of the bag. He really likes this guy a lot. So all we can do is look at progress reports. We don't really know anything. And I know we have to wait till the W's start and all that sort of stuff. I've got a really good feeling about this team. I think the QB situation is in good hands, one way or the other. I'm a Jaden Ball fan, have been from day one, love the guy. He could have a monster year. The guy can run for 50 yards. I mean, he's got it all. And he's also a terrific receiver. He could have been a great tight end. So I'm optimistic about it. The defense, I don't know as much about, but there's awful good players on defense over there too. So the personnel that keep coming in, the recruiting apparently is picked up, although you don't hear much about that because it's not about recruiting high school players. It's about the portal. And we can see already the strides he's made in the portal. And Shane, all we asked before with the other guy, Billy, was get in the portal, get active. He was late to come to that. I think this guy is already there making an impact. The football team is going to be competitive. You can bet on that. And I think we're going to have a fun season. I want to hear you talking, doing with your partner, Sean Kelly. By the way, I want to just say a word about Sean Kelly. I'm late coming to this. I really like Sean Kelly. I've heard him do basketball. I'm coming around to where he's one of my favorite guys. I love hearing him talk about that. But you talking about the roster and the problems in the offensive line, and I know it's tough for you to call the games. So I think you're going to have a fun year, one of the most fun years you've had.
Well, we'll see. I will say, but I do think Billy did a good job in the portal, though. I mean, he brought us Montreal Johnson, Ricky Pearsall, Elijah.
Yeah, but late. He was late. It was late to it. He was late to it.
But those guys all were in the NFL, so I think they were good players. Summerall had to go more into the portal to get his type of players. The offensive line, I think, is going to be much, much improved because he brought a bunch of dudes from Georgia Tech and Penn State, physical offensive linemen. Bottom line. Let's see here.
Trout line is also such a key hire. Trout line is such a key hire. And the kid from Stanford, of course, as well. And the offensive line alone, they could just improve there. Cut down on the sacks.
They will be better.
Oh, they'll definitely be better. I think you'll be good in the offensive line.
John says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Did anybody watch Houston Iowa State game last night?
I watched part of it.
Those are two Final Four teams for sure. They could easily make it to the Final Four.
I'm not sure about Iowa State. I know they beat up on them, and I watched the game last night, the last half, after you told me you were watching during the show. And they got good hustle points, and they're competitive. And I don't know if I would if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Houston.
Yeah, but Iowa State's like number 5 in America, though, buddy.
I know,
They're very
I know,
good.
I understand. I'm not always go by the polls, but they're certainly a top 10 team.
Gator Josh and Wamam on the Titanamore text line says, well, first of all, he wants to know what's your favorite sport or time of the year to write and cover sports, fall or spring. And then his question for me is, he said he heard a guy talk about the difference between a linear versus rotational QB throwing motion, whereas guys like Favre, Manning were linear, guys like Mahomes are rotational, and Brady changes his to rotational. What are your thoughts? Look, I think some of these guys, I don't get into all that. Can you throw the football or can you not? You know, you can tell at a young age when a kid is 4 or 5 years old, picks up a ball and just throws it across the room. You know what I'm saying, buddy? Or is out in the yard and throws a rock.
Spin it, yeah.
You can say that kid's got a natural throwing motion. You know, I couldn't tell you what any of that means. All I know is between the people you told me here that Favre, Manning, Brady, they all could throw the football. Not everybody has the same throwing motions. So I can't answer your question there. I know nothing about that. I can just tell if a guy can throw or not.
Well, I mean,
some of these people that get too much into this technologically or doing this, you don't become a natural thrower. But Coach Spurrier, what we call form throw, it had nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's your proper weight distribution, rotating your shoulders, and following through. Keep your head still for accuracy. That's the stuff I kind of believe in. But whether it's right or wrong, I just don't understand it.
Well, touch is important, and you had that. You talked about a lot of times quarterbacks like Montana versus the guys that got the guns today. Look how accurate he was, and throwing a catchable ball, Shane, which is what you did beautifully. You threw a catchable ball. I mean, I've seen great arms. Terry Bradshaw had one of the best arms ever. It took him a minute to get it figured out. I've caught Bradshaw's ball in the backyard of his house many times. It stings your hand, I'm telling you, when he throws it. But I don't know about all that rotational and no linear, whatever. It's too complicated for me. I just know that, as you say, you can throw the ball and you can tell it early on if you can throw the ball. The question is, are you going to throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball on a 5-yard out?
Well, I can just tell you this. The two guys that are going to be battling in the spring know how to throw the football. I don't know if it's rotational, linear. I don't know any of that stuff. I just know they know how to make all the different throws, different pitches, so to speak. MSRK, and I agree 100% with this, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Opponent, says Napier's teams were soft physically. That won't be the case with Sumrall. They will be a physical football team. I can guarantee you that.
No doubt.
So, buddy, speaking of the basketball team tonight, your thoughts moving forward. Obviously, we're getting late into the season. Everybody expects them to win the SEC. But just your thoughts moving forward to the SEC tournament and the big dance.
Well, yeah, it's good. Listen, you can have a hiccup anytime. We know that. They have a stretch of games here they're going to have to win and get up, especially getting up to elections. And then the tournament. When you got Thomas Hall averaging 17 and Alex Condon 13 and Chinlu 11 and Lee now 11 and a half. He's the player of the week, by the way. Boogie Flan 11.3 and Urban Klosner 10.1. That's a lot of points. They can hit you a lot of different ways. And any night, any one of them can beat you. But I think Franz is right when he wrote, it speaks to everyone beginning to embrace their role in this team. The fact that never know whose night it's going to be. And that's it. You never know. Any of those guys, listen, I mean, Lee was the player of the week. He was impressive. He hit threes. He could go to the hole and even defend pretty well. So, yeah, tonight in the O-Dome, it'll be interesting to see the Gamecocks come in. They were coming off last year, most unexpected, disappointed at home loss to Auburn last year when they played. But when they face the Gamecocks tonight, they have a 5-game winning streak. It propelled them to sole possession of first place in the SEC. And we're deep in discussions about which teams have a legitimate shot at making the Final Four. They look like one to me. Now, I don't know about this poll stuff. I got confused about which poll, Ken Palm and this, that, and the other. I know that they're 11 this week in the coaches poll. Last week they were 14. They climbed 2 more spots in the USA Today poll. And I suppose they're 11th. I don't know now. But they're certainly going up, or trending up. And there's no reason why they can't finish this off and go into the SEC tournament as they are ranked number one in the league, best team, and getting better. That's what we have to watch the footprint. They don't start being content. I don't think this team wins. We'll do that. They're hungry. They play hard. They compete. I think they'll finish off strong, and I fully expect them to get to the Elite Eight, if not better.
Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. All right. Buddy Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, Buddy, if we're serious about this, do we start with Strickland, Sumrall, the UF president, or the band director?
I love Bandy. He gets right to the heart to it. I want to get back to that question they asked me about which part of the season I like, but it's a good question. I don't know how to start it. I just think people got to start. And you got to want it, you got to wish it, you got to ask for it. Whoever the most powerful person you know, get back to them and tell them it matters. Does it matter to you? You have to voice that. You have to say it. It doesn't do me any good because I own a company called Gator Bait. It has almost nothing to do with that. I think anybody who's been a Gator for more than 10 minutes realizes the significance of that chant and what it was and the bogus reason it was eliminated. They fell for that, and they shouldn't have. So I don't know how to start it. I think it starts with the people. It may start with Shane and Buddy on the corner of the University of 13th, holding up their.
I would think you need to write some emails, letters, or what have you to the athletic director. And I don't know if we don't have a president right now. I'm sure the band director will be happy to play it, but he's going to have to get approval.
Oh, he can't do it. It was came up from on high, didn't it? They shut him down.
Yeah. So, Greg's question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. How did Ball fly under the radar coming out of high school? He was like a 2 or 3 star. There's a million of those guys that are 2 or 3 stars that are really good players for whatever reason. Maybe their size, and it's speed, whatever it is.
Well, I mean, look, he was a heralded high school player.
He was like a 3-star bet, buddy.
Wasn't he better than that?
No. He was a 3-star.
Well, that's true. You're right. He wasn't. Well, didn't take anybody
to Arkansas.
Yeah. Listen, anybody with any eyesight at all, even I could see, and I told you from day one, from the jump, this guy is a monster. He's fast. He's strong. He can do so many things, and I just got a glimpse of him. But he did come under the radar. You're right. He was a 3-star. I was thinking of somebody else. So can I get back to the point when I was asked the question, my favorite thing to cover, best whatever? There are 2 things here. One is I love football. I love writing about football. And I love the fall. But I must say, there's a certain part of me that loves the spring. And I love, me, I love the Masters. I covered 30-something of them. I love them. And back in the day, we had what we called the greatest double in all of sports writing, where you would leave, you would go from one to the other. You go from the from March Madness to Augusta. Actually, you go the way around, but you see some of while you're at Augusta, you're watching the tournament going on. And then, of course, it goes right into spring football and Gators. So I love the spring. There's so much optimism. I love Augusta, nothing like it. But in terms of a season, give me football.
Rob says here on YouTube, brought to you by Qualifying, the team wasn't soft last year. We had a terrible OC, a young hurt QB who missed all season, one of the toughest schedules in UF history. I disagree. I thought we were soft.
In what particular part?
Well, just the physicality of the entire football team.
Defense,
you can tell the difference between teams. Yeah. When you get beat at the line of scrimmage majority of the games, you're soft. Look, that's not taking shots at anybody. That's just a fact. Justin says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, do you think Tebow would have been better off keeping his throwing motion at Florida instead of attempting to change it in the NFL? He seemed much more accurate at UF aside from lesser competition. Tim was never going to make it in the NFL. He was not a good enough thrower. And that's not a knock on him because he's probably the greatest college football player of all time. But in that league, it's a different league. You have to throw in very, very tight windows. I remember when I was doing radio, me and JC, I forgot what station it was at. It was when Tebow and Stafford were, they're the same age. And I kept saying, this damn Matt Stafford is an elite thrower of the football. He's going to be in the NFL a long time. And I said, Tim won't. And I got just crucified for saying it. But my eyes told me what I saw. And we still kicked their butts. But Stafford, I knew would last a long, long time.
And he has. He's become a great player.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, Billy's brother that coaches high school football in Georgia is the one that found Jaden Ball. Probably makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
I think I read that.
Here
By the way, happy birthday to Michael
here.
Jordan. Can you believe Michael Jordan is 63 today? Michael Jordan. Wow.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday. He had a good birthday present the other day, winning the Daytona
Yes, he
500.
did. What a mess that was. Did you watch that, Shane?
I saw the last few laps.
I did too. I tried to watch it, flip back and forth, and that was a mess.
I was busy watching golf.
Of course you were.
Rick and Jupiter on the Titan MR text line says, do you believe the Gators are going into training camp with a true QB competition? Do you think it's just coach talk and follow has a job locked up?
No, it's a competition.
I believe it is a wide open competition between those two young men.
That's how he rolls. He's not giving anybody anything.
This question from Lynn on the Titan MR text line wants to know, what does it cost to become a Gator golf booster? There's different levels. If you go to, you know what, I don't even know what the website is. I'll find that out. I think it's gatorgolf.com, but it has different levels that you can support the program.
Shane, can I make an apology to you? I was out of line a little bit last night talking about your show and saying I was hoping you'd come on early, guns blazing, talking about Florida, Kentucky basketball. And you quickly told me you did do it in the second half of the show. That was kind of hard on you and JC. I know JC's all over the gambling, and he'll have a second half coming up, and he does a great job on that. I just don't want to make everything about gambling. I just don't want it to be always about did they cover the line. It matters to me if they win or lose. And I know we gauge it by that, but I don't want to make it that way. And so I have no right to tell you how to run your very successful show, which you've done a great job on. And whatever you do, I'm sure the fans will like. But here's the deal. I read a definition the other day about what a journalist is, and of course I know what it is. I've lived my life as one. And one guy he said, talking about the Washington Post wipeout of the sports section, he said that we as journalists, we show up every day and try to tell you what's important. That kind of defines who you are. I wouldn't call you a journalist, but when you show up on your own, I listen to what you say. I want to hear what your thoughts are, your opinions, especially on football, but other sports too. But I love to hear your comments on the big story of the day. And I was all jacked up and excited about this Kentucky win. I was expecting you to come out firing and give me some good stuff with us. So if I was out of line and saying that, I apologize.
Buddy, nothing bothers me. I didn't even lose any sleep over it. So it's all good. All good. What was I getting ready? Oh, I got to read this right here real quick, buddy. The Apple Latin Cafe, we love Gator basketball so much. Everyone at the O-Dome gets a free empanada when the opposing team misses 2 consecutive free throws in the second half. May have that opportunity tonight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy.
Can we just take 1 second to talk about Robert Duvall real quick? Robert Duvall was one of my favorite actors. A lot of people say that. And he was a lot more...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just say he was a lot more than one line. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. All that was great. Or even Godfather, or even Lonesome Dove. Well, I did not see. I'm going to go back and watch that series. There's several. In some of the lesser-known roles, lesser-known movies like The Paper, he was wonderful. The Apostle. He's a guy who made so many films, and every role was different. He became that person. He was a chameleon, and he could change his accent, his look, and he could be that person. And I like to think of him as, he was good in almost everything he did. And in baseball, when you're good a lot, you hit a high average. Ted Williams had a 406. I would say Robert Duvall was my Ted Williams. He was amazing. He did some amazing films, and I'm going to miss him. I love that movie about the tango. And Shane, we can do a lot worse in life than take off the summer and go to South America, whose wife is, by the way, South America, and dance the tango all summer long. That's kind of what he knew how to live his life. He was a wonderful actor. RIP to the great Robert Duvall.
Yeah, I'm probably the worst person in the world to talk about movies because
you don't go to the movies.
I'm not a big. I don't. The last movie I went to, buddy, was when Elvis came out, and I think that's the last movie I've seen. I don't watch movies at home. I'm one of those guys. If I watch a movie, I'll never watch it again. I'm not one that can watch it again because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it again. I'm terrible when it comes to actors, actresses, knowing what they're in. I'm not a movie person. Never have been. I don't know why, but just never have been.
But you grasped.
But I know he was a great actor.
Yeah, he was a great actor.
I know he was a great actor. Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Puts a star power in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. We're proud member Stephen Orr Spurrier Banks. 2008, 50th Daytona 500. Ryan Newman wins the shootout going into the final turn from Tony Stewart and the Bush brothers, Kyle and Kurt. That's this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. What were you going to say, buddy? I'm sorry.
Hey, it wasn't important. I was talking about movies. Anyway, looking forward to basketball tonight. Looking forward to seeing this team get better. It's a fun time. I love that this team is so balanced. They're having 6 guys in double figures. And I got to say, Todd Golden, he's trending toward becoming one of the best coaches, not just in basketball, trending toward becoming maybe one of the best coaches in college sports. He's done an amazing job, and I really appreciate it.
I think Todd Golden's definitely a top 5 basketball coach in college basketball right now, and I may put him higher. I mean, obviously, Dan Hurley's had a lot of success lately. I think he's a great coach. I mean, obviously, Bill Self and Tom Izzo and these guys that have been around forever. But, I mean, when you look at the teams in the last 25 years, the programs, I should say, in the last 25 years, the top 2, from a winning standpoint, championships. I'm not talking about regular season and all that. It's the Mighty Gators and it's the UConn Huskies. I mean, think about that. Duke might have as many championships as we do in the last 25 years, but I'm not 100% sure of that. I know UConn has the most. I know Florida would be second. So,
yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it. Let all our listeners
bring
know,
back
buddy,
Gator Bait.
start
Bring back Gator Bait. Bring back Gator Bait. Bring back Gator Bait.
They just need to send emails to the university would be my. I think that's where you need to start.
We're working on it. Thank you, Shane. Have a good show with JC.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan & More hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Gala Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, coming soon to Jonesville and Alachua. Quick timeout, come back. JC takes over. Win with JC. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, plus you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
All right, here we go. It's time to win with JC, and it's good to have everybody with us for this next 25, 30 minutes. Certainly enjoyed the first half hour of PodUp with Matthews in the morning with the legendary Buddy Martin and Shane Matthews. Always good to see Buddy on here, and it was good to have Shane with us as well. And tomorrow, of course, we'll continue on Wednesday morning at 8:00. But for the next 25, 30 minutes, let's go through some games that we like in college basketball tonight. We'll also touch on the Olympics. Zach Rothrock will join me, and we'll have some futures in basketball as well, futures bets as we go through February and get ready for March Madness here in a couple of weeks. It's not that far off. I want to start off in the AP Top 25 as we get going, and certainly we invite you to participate with us on YouTube or on Facebook Live as we'll try to answer any questions you may have on some of the games that you like tonight, some of the picks that you might want to make, or some of the plays you want to make as we go through an exciting Tuesday night of college basketball. We'll start with the AP Top 25, where Dusty May's Michigan Wolverines come in at number 1. 60 out of 61 first-place votes. They're number 1 for the first time since January of 2013. They are loaded. The Michigan Wolverines are very good. Houston is at number 2. They lost by 3 last night to Iowa State on the road. They're very good. Duke, number 3. Arizona, who had 2 losses last week at Kansas and at home to Texas Tech. They're at 4, followed by UConn. Then there's Iowa State with 2 wins over Kansas and Houston last week. They're at 6, and, of course, they won last night, as I just mentioned. Purdue is number 7. They had 2 big wins last week on the road at Nebraska. Also, they beat the Purdue Boilermakers. They blew out somebody. Okay, they blew out somebody. They won at Nebraska and then blew out somebody. I think it was Iowa. They will play at home tonight against Michigan. We'll touch on that game. Kansas is 8, Nebraska 9, Illinois 10, Gonzaga 11. The Gators, the Fighting Gators at number 12. This is the highest ranked SEC team, and it's only number 12. Yesterday, we heard on PodUp with Matthews in the morning after I left, the great Mike Morgan come on, and he, with ESPN, sees all these basketball games, and he said and predicts that maybe 9 to 10 or 11 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. I'm having a hard time getting there with that number. I think it's closer to 7 or 8, but maybe he's right. But the highest-ranked team is Florida at 12. The second highest-ranked SEC team is Vanderbilt at 19. Arkansas comes in at 20, and then the only team left in the top 25 is Alabama. So there's only 4 ranked teams in the top 25. There are multiple automatic bids. That's going to be tough for me to get there with 10 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament unless some things start happening here in the next 2 weeks maybe, or as we get ready for conference tournament time in early March. I want to also mention Miami of Ohio out of the MAC. They are 25-0. 25-0 for Miami of Ohio. So let's bring in my man Zach and get ready for tonight's big basketball card. We have some really good games. We've got 3 in the SEC. Let's start with those Florida Fighting Gators. 23. Zach, I came in yesterday and said this was a 17 to 19 point game. Vegas has these guys at 23.5 against South Carolina. A lot of that might have to do with the fact that just recently Florida beat South Carolina by 25 on the road, 90-65. That was about 3 weeks ago.
Fair.
The Gators average 86.5 points per game. They're shooting 47% from the field. They are 11-1 in their. They are 11-1 at home. South Carolina is 1-6 on the road. South Carolina is 1-9 in their last 10. Florida is 9-1 in their last 10 with 5 straight wins. And again, the Gators actually, I was wrong about that earlier score. It was 95-48 against South Carolina. I'm not sure where I got that 90-65 score at, but it was a 95-48 score, and that was January 28th against South Carolina. I can see why it's 23.5. I just, on principle, can't lay that number.
Yeah, I mean, I am a South Carolina Gamecock alumni. I feel like I would have to throw that and never claim that again if I didn't take them plus 23.5. So, yeah, I would have to go with the Gamecocks. I mean, you're going to have a hard time finding an SEC team, a Division I team that has worse guard play than the South Carolina Gamecocks. I fully understand the number. They have a hard time defending the three or hitting threes, and that's a big part of today's basketball game. So, yeah, I definitely understand the number, but my God, man, 23.5 is a ridiculous amount. And so, yeah, I would go with the underdog and take the points. But frankly, I mean, I would probably just stay away from it altogether. That's a crazy spread. That's
well, ignorant. You can also look at a 153.5 point total. And Florida easily went over that with Kentucky. That was 154. That game ended somewhere in almost the 180s or high 170s. I know where I got the 90-65. That's what the prediction for the game is tonight. If you go with the total and if you lay the spread with Florida, you're looking at 90-65, 90-66. So that's going to be a tight window. I like the over maybe more than the 23.5. But again, last time the Gators played these poor guys, it was a 95-48 absolute skull dragging. So I don't know. You got Urban Klabzar. He hit 4 threes against Kentucky. I think that was his personal best. He had 19 points. And if he or any of these guys starts hitting from the three-point arc, the Gators will be literally impossible to beat, if you ask me, because of their front court. Because if these guards start scoring, and it would be great to see Flan do something offensively. He's a great defensive player, but my goodness, the offensive production. I just think if you get Klabzar and Lee going from the outside, this team is literally going to be virtually impossible to beat because of their front court, because it's just that brings the defense out, and then you're going to get easy baskets underneath the basket. So it's a tough number to lay 23.5, but I'm absolutely going over 153.5. All right, the other SEC game tonight that I really like is in Texas. It's LSU traveling to Texas. Sean Miller's got the Longhorns playing some basketball. The Texas Longhorns are 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. LSU is 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. Cam Hyde hit 53% of his three-pointers, and he is in that 85-68 win at Missouri recently. He is 17 of 32, number 1 in the SEC and 6th nationally. Texas is finding their touch. They are scoring points. They are 11.5 point, now 10.5 point favorites to beat LSU at home. I'm going to lay that number and take the Tigers. I'm sorry, the Longhorns. Shoot me. The Longhorns. The Longhorns laying 10.5 at home against a slumping LSU team. I love that. We also have tonight Kentucky at home against the Georgia Bulldogs. Kentucky was just here. They score a lot of points. The total is 161.5. I think I like that. Both teams are 17-8 on the season. Georgia is 4-6 in their last 10. Kentucky is 8-2 in their last 10, lost by 9 to the Gators. Georgia lost 94-68 to Oklahoma over the weekend. They've lost 2 straight, but they average 90 points per game. That is 11th nationally. And I get it. Listen, I'm throwing a lot at you here, but we only have limited time. They are 30th on offense. They are 11th nationally in what is called pace. So it seems like they like to get the ball up to the basket. So I'm thinking it's an overplay for me, 161.5.
Yeah, I think both those teams played an above-average pace, and so when you get them together, it's pretty likely you're going to see a lot of shots put up.
Franklin, yeah. Well, so you got a call on this one, or are you going to skip this one? I just think it's over.
No, I like your over.
So I've got two overs: Florida and Kentucky over tonight, and Texas laying the 11.5. Franklin wants to know, Franklin Hall 9640, do I look at Ken Palm ratings? I'm going to, as they get closer to the end of the month and we get closer to tournament time, just to see how they align with bracketology. So that's one way you can look at this, and I get that, and I appreciate it. Barone wants to make some money. Well, Barone, we're going to start with some overs tonight. Hoping the balls go in the basket tonight. Typically, I'm not a big total player here, but I can't lay 23.5 for the Gators. I will lay 11 or 10.5 with Texas. I think it's 10.5 on Hard Rock. And if I had to take a side on Kentucky, Georgia, I would take Kentucky laying the 6.5. But the total of 161.5, I think, can be done because, again, they really filled it up with the Gators. Georgia, if they just stay with their 90 points per game, this game easily goes over that total. So we'll see.
Yeah, in general, a team like Kentucky that just had a tough loss against the Gators, you look for them to bounce back strong in their next game. So I think that's a good call with that. And and before we move off from college basketball, so one of the futures I looked at here, and man, I was trying hard not to be a homer for the show, but I try to typically pick a team that's not at the top. The Michigan Wolverines have the best odds currently on the Hard Rock app at plus 425 to win the tournament. But man, I find it hard. I mean, how do you not go
That's too short.
with? Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah, it's like that's to me that would be a waste. It'd be better to almost rod them throughout the tournament than to just play the 425 if you like Michigan. But I mean, how do you not like the Florida Fighting Gators at plus 1,500? I mean, they don't have Walter Clayton Jr., but I mean they've kept their bigs and they've got. I mean, why can't Todd Golden and this Florida Gators team become the next great college basketball dynasty or the modern version of one? I mean, they're getting hot at the right time. Plus 1,500 is kind of right in that sweet spot of it's long enough where you feel like you're getting some juice, but it's not this outrageously crazy long shot where you feel like you're just throwing money away either.
Well, 15-1 is not going to be there in 2 weeks if the Gators keep winning.
Yeah,
it's not going to be there.
This is the best best price you're going to get.
Sprinkle a little bit on it, and if they happen to trip up and lose a couple here or there or one, maybe that number will stay at 15 or go higher. But Florida is Vegas's darling. They love the Gators. These numbers, these spreads are huge. The AP poll with them being ranked 12, I get it that there's a lot of really good teams in front of them in this poll, but I'm sorry, I don't see 11 better teams than the Florida Fighting Gators. And so
I think it's kind of ridiculous, actually.
I know the Big Ten is going to be loaded with teams in the tournament. I get that, but SEC getting 10, I don't know if Florida is their highest rated team at 12. We'll see as we go through the next couple of weeks. A couple of other games I want to touch on around the country. Go ahead. Is there anything else?
I was going to say, Joseph on the Facebook comment line, he said that the Gators were 20-1 when he was in Vegas a few weeks ago. So the price has gotten shorter. Down. Yeah, it's coming down, but it's still in a good window right now, though.
John Jett, 5463. We're going to talk about the U.S. women's hockey team. Yes, we are. They are the dream team. They are automatic as the sun goes up and the sun goes down. They've already beaten Canada, by the way, I think here just recently. They play them again for the gold medal on Thursday afternoon. I'm going to load the boat on the U.S. women's hockey team, and we'll go through those odds here momentarily. But Barone 71, he's got North Carolina covering against NC State. Keep in mind, Caleb Wilson is out. He is not playing, but they are 6.5-point dogs, North Carolina. He likes Wisconsin tonight, and he likes the over in the Florida-South Carolina game. I'm with you there, Barone. John Jett, 5463, back to taking Kentucky. They will be angry. They're laying 6.5 to Georgia. And again, Georgia's a team that goes on the road and gets buried. They got buried at Oklahoma. I can't imagine them staying inside that 6 points. I like that as well. I also want the over in that game because I think we'll see a lot of garbage baskets at the end of the game. Tonight, though, a huge game in the Big Ten. This is the game of the night. There's no question about it. Michigan is at Purdue. Purdue getting 2.5, total 156.5. Michigan, number one in the country, as I just mentioned, 24-1 on the year. Purdue, 21-4. Michigan, 90.6 points per game, ranked fifth in the country. Purdue, 82.6 points per game, ranked 55th in the country. Michigan, 10-game winning streak. They've won their last 10. Purdue is 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. Both teams average 9 threes per game. That's 27 points. Added up, that's 54, and you're already 1/3 of the way to 156.5. if that happens tonight. I don't think either team will be nervous. I think they're just going to go out and gunsling at Mackey Arena. It'd be a crazy crowd in West Lafayette, Indiana. This is going to be a really good game. Michigan is also very good on the defensive end. They're ranked third in the country on defense. Purdue is ranked 22nd in the country on three-point shots at almost 38% per game. That's a high clip. Again, I think the ball goes in the basket. Purdue is 11-2 at home. This is a tough pick because I love Michigan, but Purdue getting 2.5 is my play at home tonight in Mackey. We got Nebraska at Iowa getting 1.5. I think Iowa is dead on arrival. I think Nebraska is legit. I watched Iowa play Purdue a couple nights ago. It was not competitive. Give me Nebraska plus 1.5, and I don't really love that. But if I had to play it, that would be the side. I'd also play Michigan State laying 8.5 tonight at home in the Breslin Center against the UCLA Bruins. They hate traveling. And Mick Cronin complains about the traveling day in and day out. Every hour of the day he's complaining to the conference.
That's the only time I ever see him talk is when he's complaining about something.
He hates the traveling. This team, UCLA, has been in the state of Michigan for 5 days. They lost by 30 to the Wolverines. They hate being there. It's too cold. They have no desire whatsoever to play tonight. I think Michigan State wins by 15 or more. That's an 8.5-point spread. Another 8.5-point spread on the road. Your Texas Tech Guns Up Red Raiders. Is it Guns Up? I think it's Guns Up. 8.5-point favorites at Arizona State. Arizona State, a very average team, over 154.5. Take the over, and I love Texas Tech. I just think Arizona State at home will stay close in the first half. If you wanted to take Arizona State, maybe a first half bet, Texas Tech will wear them out in the second. Another 8.5-point spread tonight. 3 8.5-point spreads in a row. This number will likely change as the day goes along because it's so early. But Miami at home, the Canes. We've talked about Miami during the football season. We need to talk about them now in the basketball season, Zach. They are 20-5. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. They just got done winning at NC State by a point, 77-76. They got 8 points in the final 52 seconds to win that game. They are 13-2 at home. They're playing a Virginia Tech team that just lost by 23 points on their home court to Florida State. They simply gave up. There's a lot of quitting the Hokies. I do believe that. They are 5-5 in their last 10. Give me the Canes, another 8.5-point favorite. So I'm taking 3 of them. Michigan State, Texas Tech, and Miami. These are just simply better teams than UCLA, Arizona State, and Virginia Tech. If the game is close, it will only be close in the first half. I think we got blowouts coming in all 3 of those games. And then there's that NC State, North Carolina game that Barone talked about. He likes Carolina getting 6.5, but Caleb Wilson will not play tonight.
Yeah, I like that Miami call. That's kind of what college basketball is all about. It's all about the teams that can get hot at the right time, like how we were saying the Florida Gators are getting hot. If Miami can roll into tournament time and they can win a couple of games, maybe even win the whole ACC tournament, they could see themselves getting one of the higher seeds.
I think Miami's legit.
Yeah, for sure.
They got athletes. They're 20-5. And Miami of Ohio, we know, is legit. They're 25-0. Outstanding team out of the MAC. You'll see them in the tournament. There's no question. So those are some of the games outside of the SEC. Really good card tonight in basketball, but a lot of favorites. So be careful with that. I mentioned before we got going with the basketball that the Olympics are going on. They've got another week in Milan Cortina. I'm already looking at plans to attend the 2030 Winter Olympics in France, in the French Alps, at Savoy for the alpine skiing. Fly into Nice, France. You can't get any reservations for it for at least 2 years now, but start thinking about it, my friends. It is worth watching. It's fun. And here's the best story I've seen in the Olympics thus far. There is an American bobsledder named Elena Myers-Taylor. She has now had 6 medals to her name. She's 41 years old, out of Douglasville, Georgia. She just won the gold in the monobob. That's basically a single-man bobsled or single-woman bobsled, single-person bobsled. She won it by a couple hundredths of a second over a German. And then Kaylee Humphreys, who is an American, won bronze. She's won 3 golds. for her part. But this Elena Myers-Taylor has 2 deaf children that she has brought with her to Italy. She has now got 6 medals. She's the most decorated female athlete in the Olympics that you've probably never heard of. She matches Bonnie Blair's 6 medals, 5 gold, 1 silver as a speed skater. You may remember Bonnie Blair. But this woman is a mother of 2 deaf children, Nico and Noah. And again, the most decorated woman athlete, along with Bonnie Blair in women's Olympics history, in the Winter Olympics history for women. Just a tremendous story. Elena Myers-Taylor, she won in the bobsled just the other day, or just yesterday. So we want to mention her. I just thought that was tremendous. But this is where, if you like money and you like things that should be easy, you start looking at the women's American hockey team. The USA and Canada will play for gold. Switzerland and Sweden will play for the silver, or for the bronze, rather. The USA and Canada Thursday at 1 o'clock. That's in 2 days. This is the 7th time in the last 8 games that the women have played for gold between Canada and the United States. In my pocket already, I've already made these plays because I think the numbers are going to get worse. I have the team total for the United States over 3.5, laying 130. I have the team total over 4.5 for the United States. I'm going to ladder it at plus 190, almost 2-1. I think they score minimum 5 goals in this game. Because of that, wow. I love them on the spread at minus 1.5, laying 150. I like a minus 2.5, getting 115 plus side. And I love them minus 3.5, getting plus 250. I would not be surprised if all 5 of those plays come in. I think the U.S. wins this game 5-0, 6-1. You can't score on them. Canada barely gets by. I think it was Switzerland the other night, 2-1. They do not have the firepower of the U.S. They do not have the defense or the goaltending of the U.S. This is a rout in the making, and I would recommend you get these numbers in today before they get worse as we get closer. Now, they could get better because, again, people hate laying these spreads in hockey. It's understandable. But this hockey team is special. This group is special. And they're going to score 5 goals. They're going to score 5 goals. Both of those totals are coming in. I'm going to hammer this tomorrow on Matthews in the morning. He'll fall asleep and not even hear what I'm saying, and that's fine. I love the Olympics. The Winter Olympics is something I really love watching. And I think we have the greatest hockey team or hockey program in Olympic history on the women's side. On the women's side, it's unquestionable.
I'm not going to pretend to be a women's hockey savant, but it appears as by every single measurement that you can possibly look or statistic you can look at, they are head and shoulders above the field. I do have one more future that I want to get to before we wrap things up, though, JC. This is in the NBA. We don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the NBA, which is fun.
We will later.
Yeah. But if you want to look at who's going to win the championship, the Oklahoma City Thunder probably do have the best odds or the best chance. They're at plus 130. They play such great team defense, and they rotate, and they got SGA that can manipulate and get the points however he wants. But just like I said with Michigan and with that, it's just too short. You can't do that. If you want to do the Thunder, yeah, exactly. Just ride them through. Now, with the exact same odds that I saw with the Florida Gators, plus 1,500, you can get the San Antonio Spurs. And the thing that I like about them is if Victor Wembanyama if he's healthy, if he's on the court, they don't have a lot outside of him. They got De'Aaron Fox as a ball handler. But my God, this guy's a freak of nature. If Victor Wembanyama is on the court and he's playing basketball, I just don't see anyone beating his team 4 times in 2 weeks. So I love the Spurs at plus 1,500. And you're really just banking on Victor Wembanyama just playing basketball. If he's just playing basketball, his team will not lose. That's just the way I see that.
You can't take that number with OKC. If one guy gets hurt, you're shot. And this could happen. You know, the NBA finals are a long way off still. And they are the defending champions, but they battled with Indiana in that NBA finals. That number is way too short. They're basically saying, "Don't take OKC. We'll take it as the house."
Yeah, that's no good.
One guy gets. Now, does Popovich still coach the Spurs? If he's still the coach, I will absolutely root against them on every single game. He is the crankiest, most miserable person I've ever seen.
I didn't think he was. He's not. It's
okay.
Mitch Johnson. He's been coaching the team since last May.
Thank God. So Popovich.
Yeah, I was pretty sure the answer was no.
So I can put his name to rest. I'll never mention it again. All right. So that's a good
Mitch
sign.
Johnson.
That's a good sign. So now I can root for the Spurs again. Okay. Well, I tell you, I think in the NBA we'll start talking as they get closer to the playoffs come May. Same with hockey. We're going to get into some hockey now that we're in the second half of the season. They're still on break because of the Olympics, but you're going to have on the men's side 2 NHL teams playing. This is going to be a rematch of the Four Nations tournament that really generated a lot of excitement as Canada and the U.S. played in the finals. 2 NHL teams basically going at it. We'll see that again in the Olympics playing for gold and silver. But I don't think there's any question in my mind, and there isn't, that the United States will bury Canada on the women's side. And that's coming on Thursday at 1:10. I'll mention it again tomorrow on Matthews in the Morning. So in review quickly, as we are rapidly running out of time, it never fails. We like Purdue plus 2.5. We like Nebraska, Michigan State, Texas Tech, and Miami tonight. A lot of favorites here. That's scary. I get it. But there is a huge difference in these teams and in the way they play. In the SEC, the Florida 23.5 number is just too big, but I wouldn't blame you if you took it. But the total of 153.5 looks better for me. I see a 90-65 type of result tonight. But that's a tight window. That's a tight number, and I can't see South Carolina scoring a lot tonight. But maybe they will. If they do, that's a good sign. Georgia and Kentucky, we like the over 161.5. And then on the side, it's Texas laying 10.5 to LSU. Lots of juicy favorites. Not a fan of that. But there are big variances between these teams tonight on the hardwood. So good luck with your picks tonight. Go on the Hard Rock app and let your plays go in. And if you're outside of Florida, wherever you may play, good luck to you there. I'll be back tomorrow with Shane Matthews at 8 o'clock on Matthews in the Morning. Good luck with your bets.